Hey y'all, welcome to Currently Creative, a channel about my various creative endeavors. Today is Friday, May 9th, 2025, and this is episode 82. I'm Susan. You can find me on Ravelry as Legal Eagle and on Instagram as Criminally Creative, the number one. If you are new here, I appreciate you checking me out and hope you like what you see. If you are returning, I appreciate you coming back, as always. It has been about 3 weeks since my last episode. Our major deadline at work was Thursday, yesterday. Excuse me. Although they actually kind of wrapped it all up Wednesday. So I was actually able to work from home yesterday because my car had to go into the dealership. And so I was without a car for the day. But fortunately, they got it done, and I took today off just to have a day of rest and no plan to do anything. So, but I thought I would go ahead and get a video done. And so anyway, we'll move on to Hearsay. That kind of translates. Work, has been busy. I have not stitched as much the last couple weeks, but I have gotten some stitching done. Hopefully things will be a little bit calmer for the next couple weeks. It doesn't mean I won't have to work late some, but it won't be the crazy that it's kind of been the last 3 to 4 weeks or so. And then it'll pick back up again at some point in the summer when they decide they're going to be close to wrapping up. But other than that, just a couple things since I last talked to you. There's a new store in the town that I live in called Thimble and Stash. I live in a little town of Sanford, North Carolina, which is literally in the middle of North Carolina. The geographic center of the state of North Carolina is about 5 miles from my house. But there's a new store. It's called Thimble and Stash, and I went to the grand opening. I met my friend Michelle up there, and we checked it out and went and had lunch next door. It is primarily right now fabric, but it's an interesting concept. So it's kind of like she has new fabric on the bolt and stuff, but she also will take previously loved fabric that's, in good condition and like decent quantities. I mean, it doesn't have to be like 5 yards, but it can't be like a literal scrap. And she gives you store credit, but she also is a multi-crafter. And so like I talked to her about how I'm into cross stitch, and she has some cross stitch stuff and is willing to take cross stitch stuff as well. And I think she's also possibly open to like yarn for knitting and stuff. So anyway, just a nice little store in Sanford. And if you're in the area or close enough to come to Sanford, I appreciate you checking it out if it keeps her open, because it keeps the local store. We do have a Hobby Lobby in Sanford, but that is our only other craft store. We previously had a fabric store, but it closed a couple years ago. So anyway, so I did that, had a nice couple hours with my friend Michelle checking that out and having a nice lunch. It is right next door to Miss Lacey's, which is a really nice little restaurant that does, I don't know if they do breakfast, but I know they do lunch. They're not generally open for dinner. So if you come, on a weekday or a Saturday or something, plan to have lunch next door at Miss Lacey's. It's a really good, sandwiches and soups and salads and really good desserts. They make their own desserts. And then other than that, last Saturday, May 3rd, I went to the Greensboro Stitchers All Day Stitch. Greensboro Stitchers is a Facebook group. And they had an all-day stitch last Saturday at a church just outside of Greensboro. And that was a lot of fun. My friend Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher here on YouTube, came for a few hours. And my friend Christina, who lives up north of Raleigh, came. So we had a nice time just sitting and stitching and talking with other ladies. And they did do a smalls exchange. I didn't participate in that. They also had a freebie table, and they did have one vendor there, Bestie Barn Creations. I think I've got her card. Of course, I bought some stuff. So when we get to stashing for retirement, I'll show you her card and get the name correct. But so it was just a nice day, to sit and stitch with friends and hang out. So that's about it for Hearsay. I think, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, let's move on. Sorry. My brain is still recovering from working too hard the last few weeks. We will move on to verdicts. I do have one verdict, and it is a knitting verdict. As you know, if you're returning, I've been knitting up hats using some of my leftover Malabrigo Rios. So I finished another hat. If you see strands hanging out, I have woven in the ends, but I don't trim my ends till after I've washed them. So I'm basically just knitting all these hats, and eventually I'll wash them all together and trim the ends. I'm just trying to use up some leftover yarn. Malabrigo Rios is kind of my favorite go-to worsted weight superwash yarn. And so I've made projects and hats over the years, and I've got partial balls left, and so I'm just striping them. And then as we get closer to fall again, I will take these and donate them somewhere, either, you know, an organization that works with homeless or something like that. I haven't decided where. So anyway, so that was finished. And I've just realized I forgot to bring stuff in here. So I'm going to pause you for a minute. I'll be right back. Okay. I realized as I was talking about the hat that I finished that I hadn't grabbed the bag that has the hats in progress or the socks that I plan to show you. So I did start another hat. And again, like I said, I'm just using leftover partial balls of Malabrigo Rios. So I just try to put them together in colors that go decently together. So this is the current one that I'm making. And I started with that green and orange and that. I'm doing another orange stripe, and then I will finish off the top of the hat with the leftover green. So that's the current one in progress. If you're a knitter and you're interested, I do the ribbing on US 6 needles, and then I change to a US 8 for the body. And this is in a bag that my friend Peggy made me with this fabric that looks like leather, but is actually fabric. And I just knocked my light, so hopefully if you just saw lights moving, that was me knocking my light. The other knitting project that I've been working on is in this butterfly bag that also my friend Peggy made. And these are my socks. And you've seen these before, but not since I turned the heels. So I figured I'd show you since I gotten further up the leg. This is, so I have done my heel. I did a What the Heel short row heel. I can't remember who the designer of that is, but it's a little bit roomier short row heel. I think it's called What the Heel Roomy Short Row Heel is actually what it's called. This yarn is Lollipop yarn in the quintessential base in the colorway Mood. I don't believe you can get Lollipop anymore from what I've heard, and I've just heard this. I don't know if it's accurate. She sold the company, but the person who bought it is now not dying anymore. So I don't think that Lollipop is currently selling yarn. I could be wrong about that. Anyway, so I did the heel. I'm on the legs. I'm getting close to starting the ribbing. I don't like the legs of my socks super long. I usually do 4 to 5 inches. So it's kind of like a crew sock. But so that is the knitting, which was the start of court in session. I forgot to say that. Anyway, we'll move towards the cross stitch. Because the last time I recorded was still in April. April is now over. I thought I'd give you my April stats for cross stitch. In April, I did 14,687 stitches. I stitched 22 days in April, 59 hours, and I only total of 8 projects. I started one project, and at the end of April, I had 93 total whips. Whip is work in progress, if you're not familiar with that term. So let me show you what I've worked on. First up is in this bag by, is this Vintage Owl Lady? I haven't gotten, nope, that's the fabric card. I know I have her card in here. Yes, Vintage Owl Lady is who this bag is by. This is, and before I get into this, if you are new here, as I talk, I will put up a picture of what the pattern will look like when it's finished. And then, usually if I have one, a picture of what it looked like the last time you saw it. This is a peacock, a unicorn, a badger by the Scarlet House. And there we go. Sorry, my needle had, I guess I leave my needle in the fabric, and it had kind of caught both sides of the fabric where it's folded. I started this on April 29th of 2023. I'm doing it on 40 count Atomic Ranch in the colorway Mellow Stone. And this was my second whip go call for April, which I had not yet worked on when I last recorded. My whip go goal for this for last month was 1,800 stitches, and I did 1,801. Mainly I finished that peacock bird body. I haven't done the tail yet, obviously. Filled in some more green, filled in that snail and the bird, and then did a little, I think I filled in the acorns down on the bottom left. Did several random things. My whip go board this year has got several of my full coverage projects on it with a goal to reach 5%, or to stitch 5% of the project. Not reach 5%, but with the exception of one, to do 5% of the project. So, and then I've split it up on the board 3 or 4 times, anywhere from 2 to 4 times, depending on how many times I needed to break that, whatever the 5% was, into a reasonable chunk that didn't, like, require me stitching forever and ever and ever. So, that is the first one. Oh, and that is currently at 8%. Next up is in this bag by Sherry So Sweet, Teresa Kogut fabric. This is Let Freedom Ring by Leela Studio. I started this November 9th of 2023. I'm doing it on 40 count Picture This Plus vellum. And I told you last time that Nancy the Evil Genius had come up with the idea of finishing this by the U.S.'s 250th birthday on July 4th of 2026. And I decided that that was an idea that I could not let go of. And so I need to do about 2,200 stitches a month on this project to finish it by the end of June next year. So when I talked to you last time, I had done, I think, a little over 1,000 stitches of that 2,200 for April. And since you last saw it, I did another 1,014 stitches for a total of 2,308 stitches in April. I finished that flag there, did a little bit of the bird above it. I think I did some more flower. This is currently at 15.3%. So when I started this, I started in the middle so I could start that building, and then I worked my way up to that top border to the top left, which is where I typically start. But I did not want to leave that big building to last. So this time, since I worked more in the top left corner for May, I will probably work more on the building, and you will see that at the end of May, because I have not yet had a chance to work on that one this month. Next up is in a bag that I made, which is perfect fabric for this next project, which is Haunted Library by Lola Crow Designs. This was a stitch along in 2022, and I started it as a stitch along, but knowing that I would not keep up with it. So this is a project that I would like to finish this year. Excuse me. I think last time I told you I was trying to do 500 stitches a week on it, in addition to the 500 stitches I'm doing on another project right now to finish. I have decided, at least for these next few weeks, that I'm not going to try to, I'm keeping it where I can work on it if I want to, but I'm not going to try as strenuously, is that right? To get 500 stitches a week on it. Because this still does have, I think, like 6,000 or 7,000 stitches to go. So, but I am going to try to work on it regularly. So this is Haunted Library. This is where I am. Since you last saw it, I have done another 521 stitches. down on the stairs and the shape, the outline of that kind of ghosty thing at the bottom of the stairs. In April, I did a total of 2,189 stitches. And this is currently at 57.5%. So that whole top bookshelf is done. And now I'm working around down the stairs to the bottom part. This is on 40 count Fortnite fabrics in the I Try colorway. You cannot get Fortnite fabrics anymore, to my knowledge. Next up is in this bag by Carrie Sews For You. This is the project that I started as a Leap Day project on February 29th of 2024. This is Anzac by Long Dog Samplers. I'm doing this on 40 count Lars fabric and the colorway Brain Fog. And I'm doing it mostly in a variegated Silks For You called PR. Sorry, I gotta look at the numbers because I don't remember. PR 0 through 8 is the primary color with the blue, green, charcoal. But then I have PR 136, which is the green that I'm doing, green variegated I'm doing some in. And then I've got PR 123 and a Be Stitch Me Gold that I'm doing a few things in. So I need to do 600 stitches a month on this to be finished by Leap Day 2028. I did 617 stitches in April. I have done 656 already in May for a total of 1,273 since you last saw it. And it is currently at 34.7%. So as you can see, I'm doing like the shape of Australia in the green. I did that bird cage in the gold. Over here I went ahead and put 2028 in because I'm being optimistic. And I did that in the bright blue. I did make sure that I stitched the 8 last. The 2 and the 8, the 28 last, so that if I have to pull some out, I can. But I think I can have it done by 2028 as long as I stick with it and keep stitching on it regularly. Next up, sorry, got to figure out where I am on my notes here, is In a Bag by Creative Carol Designs with hummingbirds on it. This is Love is Love by Jan Hicks Creates. I'm doing this on 40 count Barefoot Needle Arts fabric in the colorway Sandy Toes. I am not, some of these may be the called for, but basically I kitted up out of stash with fancy floss that I had in the color, in similar colors to the called for. And here's where it is. I've done everything above this. I wasn't going to take it out of the Q-Snap because I think the picture that I will put up to show you will show the top part of it. I did 556 stitches after I last recorded in April. I have done 913 so far in May for a total of 1,469 stitches since you last saw it. It is currently 85.2%. So all I have left to do is the rest of this yellow and orange and red. I think it's a little low. It's like not quite 1,100 stitches left. So this will definitely get done in May in the next couple weeks. I started that on July 4th of 2023. And then it languished in 2024. I don't think I touched it at all in 2024. Okay, now we're full into May. My project that I guess kind of broke into 12, so to speak. Although I do it by stitch count rather than visual. For 2025 is Kingdom of Books. This is in a bag made by Lynn X Stitch Creates with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I'm doing this on the 14 count kit fabric, 3 strands of floss over 1/8 square. I'm doing the full background and everything. I'm trying to do about 3,000 stitches a month on this, which right now we'll have it done sometime like October, I think. And I started this about August 31st of 2016. I have not finished my May stitches. So far, I've done 1,028 stitches in May. I finished filling in all this here, and then I've been working on that. I don't know. I'm not going to take it out of Q-Snap because there's so much fabric wound up, but I'm not sure if my before picture that I'm showing has the entirety or if it just shows where I worked last time, but you've seen this several times. You get the gist. I am currently at 74.9% on this. So this right here, that is going to be the edge. That's the end of the pattern. So I had to sew some fabric on the end here so that I could get at my Q-Snap and see all of the Aida, because, you know, kits don't usually give you a ton of extra fabric. So this one is actually only going to have, I think, like 1.5 inches to 2 inches. Okay, next up. So I told you last time I wasn't sure what I was going to do for May. May is usually kind of, a lot of people do mania, where in various forms, some people stitch on a different project every day. Some people start a new project every day. And then there's also other kind of concepts that have come up. Manning May, Mira May, you know, all kinds of stuff. I realized that there are 5 weekends in May, and I have 5 Mirabilia projects that are started. So I decided to do kind of a Mira May. And what I'm doing is I'm working on one of my Mirabilias each weekend with a minimum goal of 500 stitches, but a real goal of trying to get at least 1,000 stitches in on the project. So this past weekend, I worked on this project, which is in this brass button bag with Grinch. This is Winter White Santa. And I am doing, I started this January 15th of 2022. And I'm doing it on a 32 count XJU design fabric in the colorway Little Dove. And I worked on this last weekend, and I got a total of 1,061 stitches done. I worked primarily here in that area, and this is currently at 26.4%. Sorry, I gotta get I have to put things back in the bag or else things get too scattered. And then I have one new start since I last recorded. I started this, this is in a bag that I made, which is some fabric I picked up. I started this last weekend at the Greensboro Stitchers All Day Stitch. This is Cabin in the Woods by Flosstubers. And this is like a fat half of fabric, so I've got to, I haven't cut it down yet. I'm doing this on 32 count barefoot fabric in Stormy Seas colorway. And this is where I got to. So I started that border from that's the top left, and I did the border down to get to the line under the house, because I got a tree in, and I wanted to get over to the cabin because I wanted to check those dark browns and stuff to make sure they were going to show up on this fabric, and they do. So I did a total of 578 stitches, And this is currently at 6.4%. This is not a huge pattern, so if I don't let it languish too long, it shouldn't take that long to do. But and that is all of my stitching. On the docket, my Whip Go call for April was the same project for both numbers, across Winter Lake. And so both blocks have across Winter Lake 1,600 stitches. So I will be doing 3,200 stitches on across Winter Lake, which is a Gecko Rouge pattern based on artwork by Joe Grundy. So I have that yet to do. I have not quite 2,000 stitches left to do on Kingdom of Books. I still need to do 2,200 stitches on Let Freedom Ring. And I will finish Love is Love. And then I've got the Mirabilias to work on during the weekends. So my plan for the Mirabilia weekends right now is this weekend, since Sunday is Mother's Day, I'm going to work on touching the Autumn Sky because that's like a little girl swinging. So I just think child, mother. The weekend of the 17th, I'll be working on Sleeping Princess for no reason. I mean, there's no correlation there. The weekend of the 24th is Memorial Day weekend here in the United States. So I'm going to work on Lady of the Flag that weekend. And the 30th, 31st, I'm going to work on Snow Queen. So, excuse me, those are the tentative plans. I may, if something happens and I'm not going to have a lot of time, I might switch it up a little bit, but we'll see. Hey, y'all, just a quick insert here because I realized when I was talking about my on the docket, I forgot to tell you about Andrew the Runner Stitcher's Whip It Into Shape, I think is the hashtag. I will put the hashtag across the screen. He is starting marathon training for a marathon in August, and so go to his channel to check out all the details. But I will be doing that rather than daily. I will be adding up each week's miles and stitching that number of miles times 10. And the project I have chosen is Rosewood Manor's O Feathers, which I will show you next time, hopefully with a good bit of progress. So check that out if you're interested in either a 3 or 4 days a week few stitches or doing like I am and adding up the stitches for the week. Check out Andrew's latest floss tube video, and actually I think the one before that he goes into a little bit more detail, but just wanted to put that in here. Thanks. And other than that, I mean, I hope to touch a few more projects just randomly, but like I said, I should have a little bit more time, like in the evenings, to stitch, at least for the next couple weeks, where I won't be working as late as often. So hopefully I'll be able to touch a few more things. And then June, because I will finish Love is Love this week, I think in June, not this week, this month. I think in June, since that's Pride Month, I will probably go ahead and start Modern Folk Embroidery's Move Forward in Love that I have kitted up that I showed you in my kit parade. So, yeah, and I did, if you missed it, I did record a kit parade after the last time that I recorded a regular episode. That came out like the Friday after Easter, I think it was. So if you're interested in seeing what I have kitted up, including my exorbitant amount of Mill Hill kits, go check that out. Excuse me. So before we get to calendar session for retirement, last episode was my 7th anniversary. And so I did some giveaways, and I have drawn the names for those. Let me get my, sorry, I put them all in a folder so I wouldn't lose track of where they were. So let me get these out and I can show you again what we're talking about as we go. First up was Spring Moon by Plum Street Samplers, and the code word for that was spring. The winner for that is Sally Diem. Sally, you told me last time how to pronounce your last name, and I'm butchering it again. I'm sorry. So Sally, if you will please, if you're a winner, if you will please email me your mailing address, your full name and mailing address, I would appreciate it. If you really can't email me, you can DM me on Instagram, but I would prefer email. I messed up last time and somebody had sent me their address as a DM on Instagram, and then I waited a couple weeks for everybody to respond, and when I went to go send stuff out, I forgot that I had that in Instagram, and I announced on my next floss tube I was still waiting to hear from that person, and they kindly messaged me and said, hello, I was the first person to respond, and I'm so sorry. So it would be much easier for me if you don't mind emailing me at the email address that's in the box below. It's criminallycreative1@gmail.com. I would appreciate it. So Sally, if you will send me your, I think I know your full name, but your mailing name and address, I will get these in the mail. Next up was Peaceful Snowman, but if you watched the entire episode last time, you saw when I got to stashing for retirement, I also showed this pattern I had picked up on the freebie table in Greenville, and decided that I needed to be realistic, and as cute as it was, I really probably would not get around to stitching it. So if you entered the word snow, then you're actually entered for both these patterns. And the winner of that is Viennese Stitcher. And she is, I know she's in Austria because we were talking about the weather. I assume she's in Vienna or somewhere close by. So, Viennese Stitcher, if you will please email me your full name and mailing address, I will get those in the mail to you. Obviously, it will take a little longer to get to you, but hopefully it will get there. And as I've said before, I can't guarantee, I mean, I mail them with tracking, but I can't guarantee it gets there. If it gets lost in the mail, I do not have these patterns to replace. I probably will do my best to make sure you receive something, but it might not be what I sent you originally. So, next up was Quaker Mermaid by RETM. The keyword for this was mermaid, and the winner of this is, sorry, I can't read my own writing without my glasses all of a sudden, Amy Swihart. Amy, Swihart, 7283. I'm not sure if it's Amy, if your last name's Hart and the SYI is something else, or if your last name's Swihart, or maybe it's not at all. But anyway, Amy, if you will email me your full name and mailing address, I will stick that in the mail to you. Sorry, I'm putting these back in this folder so I don't lose anything. Next up, let me get this straight here, was October's Party by Little House Needleworks, which I finished this year, and also Bent Creek Quaker Moon, which I have also stitched before last year. The keyword for this was autumn, and the winner of this is Stitching with Cats. Angela, that's you. Angela's a friend of mine that I have seen at several retreats, but Angela, I do not have your mailing address, so if you will please send that to me in email, I will get those out in the mail to you. And Sally, I know you've won before, but I think it was a gift card, so I don't think I have your mailing address, or at least I couldn't find it if I do. And then the last physical prize was this kind of patriotic bundle, which was Free Birds by Sweet Wing Studio, A Day for Freedom by Stitches by Ethel, and Pillow Pals Elliot the Eagle by Annabella's, and this Patriotic Prim Stitch by Annabella's. Word for that was summer, and the winner of that is Always Be Yourself. So Always Be Yourself, if you would email me your full name and mailing address, I would appreciate it. And then the last two items were two, sorry, stuff's sliding here. I've got so much stuff over here, it's all sliding. Two $25 gift cards to the online retailer of your choice, cross-stitch retailer, that I can order, or LNS if I can order a gift card online. I don't care if it's a brick and mortar store, as long as I can go online and order the gift card and have it emailed to you. So, and there were two winners of that, and the two winners are Diane Miller. Congratulations, Diane. And KY Camerical. I don't know if KY is Kai is a name, or if that's Kentucky, or what, but KYCHIMERICAL. I will link all of the winners' names in the description box below so that you will be tagged on YouTube. Hopefully that will alert all of you to check out the video. And Diane, and I'm going to call you Kai. I don't know if that's your name or what. If you will email me with the online LNS that you would like a gift card to, and make sure that you either send it from your email address or you tell me expressly what email address to have that gift card sent to. I will do those. I will, I know Diane is in the U.S. I'm not sure about Kai. Kai, if you are overseas, I am willing to do an overseas retailer so long as I can pay with PayPal or be confident in giving them my credit card number, and pay in US dollars. So the $25 is 25 US dollars. Anyway, so y'all email me, and hopefully we will get all those out shortly and get those on their way. Calendar, couple of things, nothing really soon. There is another Durham Stitch Day in June. I don't remember what day exactly. It is a Sunday, I know. And I'm recording on my phone, so I can't really look at the calendar right now. But if you're interested in that, go to Tar Heel Stitchers Facebook group and search Teresa Wilkinson. I think it's Wilkinson. If you'll search for her name, you'll find a post she made at like the beginning of the year with all the dates. And then as we get closer to the date, she usually will create an event in that group, but she doesn't usually do that till closer to the date. So that's at the Bethesda Ruritan Club on, I think it's Miami Boulevard in Durham. And since it's a Sunday, I think it's from like 1 to 6. That's just a real chill go and stitch for the afternoon. Teresa asked for $5 to help cover the rental of the Ruritan Club. And there's usually, like, people sometimes bring freebies, stuff for freebies or stuff that they're wanting to, sell. People usually bring some snacks, but it's just a real chill hangout and stitch for a few hours. I will be at the Chatelaine Retreat in July in Charlotte, North Carolina. The weekend after that, I'll be at the Stitch and Thrift Retreat in Lexington, South Carolina. And then I will be at the Barefoot Needle Arts Retreat in October. The Greensboro Stitchers group that I just went to the all-day stitch last weekend will be doing another all-day stitch in November. I think we decided on the first weekend in November. I'm not positive about that, but if you're interested in that, if you'll just join the Greensboro Stitchers group on Facebook, or if you don't do Facebook, as we get closer, I will know the date for sure, and we'll mention it again. And you can always email me or drop a comment below with a question if you are interested and just don't do Facebook and want some more information. I'll be glad to share that. So, excuse me. That is it for calendar. Let's move on to stashing for retirement. Okay, I placed a small order from Barefoot Needle Arts to get a couple of the new Mill Hill kits and also some floss that I needed. So I got Spooky Cat. Sorry for the glare. And I also got Haunted Lighthouse. If you watch my kit parade, you know that I'm collecting all these haunted ones. And eventually, my plan is to do them, I'm guessing on fabric, because I want to create like stand-ups. I did ask in my kit parade if anybody has a suggestion for how to do it on the perforated and then turn it into some kind of stand-up. It's not that I'm opposed to doing it on the perforated paper. I just know with the fabric, I can kind of create kind of a wider base bottom and stand it up. I just haven't figured out how to do that with perforated paper. And I don't really want to have to frame all of them. I guess I could like put them all on like blocks of wood, but then I feel like I might end up, how would I attach it without gluing it? Yeah, I don't know. So if anybody's got a suggestion for how to turn, like a buttons and beads Mill Hill on perforated paper into some kind of stand-up, because what I want is they're mostly like houses and buildings, and I want to be able to like set them out like a little village like. So anyway, other than that, at the Greensboro Stitchers retreat, it was an all-day stitch is what they call it. I got one little, I wanted to show this. This is just it's a paper but nice, you know, like to-go coffee cup that Lillian, who's the owner of Bestie Barn, that was the vendor there, gave everybody. And it has, you know, a heat sleeve, and it had she gave us a thing of tea, and then a little teaspoon. I don't know if you can see that with the plastic. It's a little flower. And that was just cute. I thought that was a nice little kind of table gift idea. She gave everybody one. And then I picked up off the, oh, this was a door prize I won. Or they had it, yeah, it was door prize. You got like a, everybody just wrote their name. And they had like 4 or 6. I can't remember. I think it was 4. I don't remember how many door prizes. And this is, I thought it was just a piece of fabric because it said, one said linen, one said Ada, but I didn't realize it was actually like a kitted up project. So I won the Ada one, which is this pattern from Al Forst Embroidery. And it comes with 14 count fiddler's cloth and the DMC to do it in. So that was really nice. And then off the freebie table, I did pick up this book. And if you know me, you know that this hurts my heart because I am a diehard Tar Heel Carolina fan. But I do have 2 nieces that are currently at NC State. So I have this book. This book is like from the 80s. I have this for Carolina from back when I stitched growing up. And I was looking, I didn't realize it was done by 3 Needles out of Burlington. I never realized that until I looked at this one. I have to pull my other one out to see. My father's family's from Burlington. I have a lot of family in Burlington. Yeah, 1980 is the copyright on this. So, but I have the equivalent Carolina one. I wasn't going to pick this up, but while I was sitting at the all-day stitch on Saturday, my sister-in-law texted me a picture. NC State had their graduation last year. My oldest niece, Maddie, is a junior at NC State. My middle niece is a freshman. And Maddie just turned 21 2 days ago, and I cannot believe she's 21. But anyway, while I was at the all-day stitch on Greensboro, in Greensboro, my sister-in-law texted me a picture of, I guess, one of Maddie's friends who graduated last weekend, and someone had cross-stitched, Tuffy is what they call the wolf, a Tuffy with NCSU and the 2025 on it, and had put it over the top of her cap. And so my sister-in-law said, can you do this for Maddie for next year? And I said, well, I can do something similar. So I went ahead and grabbed this book because I figured, I don't know if I'll use exact pattern, but I can probably get some ideas from this. So yeah, I love my nieces, so I'm willing to do NC State stuff occasionally just because that's where they're in school. It's a great school. It's just the sports rivalries are real. I mean, I grew up in, I may have said this before, I grew up in North Carolina in a time, actually, you can see I got my Carolina cup. I grew up in North Carolina at a time where we did not have pro sports. The Carolina Panthers were not a team. Charlotte Hornets maybe started when I was in high school. I can't remember, because the Charlotte Hornets were in Charlotte, and then they were not, and then they're back. And I think the first time was when I was in high school. I can't remember. I don't really follow pro basketball. But, you know, I guess the Atlanta Falcons existed, but I mean, I was a Washington Redskins fan, which are, you know, now the Commanders, but because that was really kind of the closest. I mean, Washington was closer than Atlanta for where I grew up. That was the closest pro team, and my dad liked the Washington Redskins. But, so college ball, at the time, the ACC was 8 teams, and 4 of them were in North Carolina. So you grew up in North Carolina either as Carolina, Duke, State, or Wake. That, you know, everybody had one of those 4 teams, and, you know, was a fan of one of those 4 teams. The ACC basketball tournament every year, I mean, I'm not kidding when I say they literally rolled the TV into the classroom, because that wasn't like, TVs in classrooms were not a thing back then normally. Rolled the TV into the classrooms for everybody to watch the ACC tournament during the school day. I mean, that was what it was. Not to mention, I grew up in Reedsville, which is like 20 minutes from Greensboro, which for years and years and years was where the ACC tournament was held. It didn't rotate at all. It was always held at the Greensboro Coliseum. Anyway, that was a tangent. Sorry about that. So, other than that, I did buy a few things from Lillian, the vendor there. And let me see if I can find her card first so I can show you. This is the... And then, yeah, Bestie Barn Creations. She does have an Etsy. And so, most of what I bought is fabric. But let me show you. I did buy one pattern. This is Primrose Cottage Stitching Quaker. I just had not picked that up yet. So, I went ahead and got that. And then, I succumbed to the fabric. I've been trying to build up a little bit more of an Ada stash. She had these bundles from Picture This Plus, and I don't know if these were bundles that they sold as bundles at market or what, but she had this Halloween bundle of 16 count Ada. So it's 4 fat quarters of 16 count Ada, and I think this is pickled. Let's see if I can figure out the names. The purple is called Whimsy. I don't want to take them fully out here. The orange is called Prank. And the charcoal color is called Echo. So I went ahead and get those because I love Halloween stitching. And so I've just been feeling like stitching more smaller stuff lately. And Ada is just a little bit faster. So, and then I got... I don't want to take these out of the bags because, so hopefully I can show you without too much glare. She had, these are all fat quarters, I believe. I'll tell you if it's not, but R&R Reproductions Winter Brew in 40 count. R&R Reproductions is something that's not necessarily hard to find. It's just not as easy to find as a lot of them, so I went ahead and bought that. Picture This Plus 32 count linen in Tidal. T-I-D-A-L, like water tidal. Kind of a greeny teal. 32 count linen in Picture This Plus Haunted. And 32 count linen in Picture This Plus Oracle, which is just a nice neutral gray. So I picked those up, and that is it for stashing for retirement. I have not, I've actually been so busy at work that I haven't even shopped online, really. So, I think that's everything. I'm not sure how long it is, because the first time I meant to pause, I actually stopped the video and had to start it. But it should be less than an hour, hopefully. Excuse me. Again, if you are new, I appreciate you checking me out, and I hope you liked what you saw, and will like, subscribe, do all the things. And I will probably plan, what is today, the 9th? It's probably going to be the last weekend of the month before I record again, so probably another 3 weeks, but then hopefully at that point that will get me back on my like middle of the month, end of the month schedule, because I believe Memorial Day weekend probably is not going to be a good weekend to record. So hopefully I will have a lot to show you by then, because I'll have more stitching time. And then, like I said, hopefully I can get back kind of on a middle of the month, end of the month schedule. And I think that's it. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting to say, but I don't know what it is. So if you are one of the winners of the giveaways, please do not forget to email me your full name and address. I will probably wait at least a week or so for hopefully everybody to get me their addresses before I actually mail. But if if there's like an outlier or something, I'll go ahead and mail before the next episode. So hopefully I will get those out in the next week or so. I think that's it. I'm going to go and get this edited and hopefully uploading by sometime tonight. And I hope that everyone is doing well, that the weather, the wildfires, whatever are okay wherever you are. There's been a lot of shit going on in the world, in a lot of ways. But anyway, I hope everyone is doing well, that you are getting some time to stitch and enjoying what you're working on. So I will talk to you later. Bye, y'all.